What's on, Jones here? This is my top 11 videos of the decade, in the last 10 years. I'll start off with Eidde Guerrero versus Mysterio. This feud happened within 2004, maybe 2005. And, these guys had great chemistry. Eidde Guerrero and Mysterio, they like family, so, these guys are going to have great chemistry. They had great matches in WCW. These guys had a great ladder match, in my opinion, and this feud is classic because, just because of the mentality of the storyline and just the chemistry and the great string of matches that they had. This basically was Eidde Guerrero was going crazy because Rey Mysterio was beating him, left and right. He just kept beating him. He beat him at WrestleMania. He beat him on SmackDown a couple of times, and these guys had a really great ladder match, where they was fighting for the custody of Dominic, Rey Mysterio's son, and the storyline was basically Eidde Guerrero was the real biological father of Rey Mysterio's son, but that was just storyline. And this was just, I thought the storyline was good. I just enjoyed it that much. And by the way, rest in peace, Eidde Guerrero. Moving on. Now Hardy versus Edge. This feud was real good. This was based on a real storyline. What had happened backstage, what was going on behind the scenes. Edge and Matt Hardy, these guys literally didn't like each other because Edge stole Matt Hardy's girlfriend, basically, and they turned that into a storyline. And Matt Hardy had got fired at one point, and they brought him back, so they decided to run him into a program, basically, so they can make some money off of it. And this was just this was golden. The hatred in this storyline made this feud really good, and the feud ended basically where the winner had to leave Raw and go to SmackDown. I don't believe ECW was out at the time. And, Edge had won the match, so I guess Edge won the war. Because Matt Hardy had to leave Raw and go to SmackDown. But, moving on. Shawn Michaels versus Triple H. Shawn Michaels versus Triple H. When Shawn Michaels first came back, he went into a program with Triple H, and this was golden in my opinion. These guys had great matches. The feud was great. The storyline was great. It was basically, Shawn Michaels coming back. Triple H felt like Shawn Michaels was trying to steal his thunder, trying to steal his spot. Triple H was the World Heavyweight Champion. Excuse me. Triple H was the World Heavyweight Champion, and he was running Evolution, so he was on top. And he felt like Shawn Michaels was trying to take his spot. Being an egomaniac and everything. So these guys had a great feud with each other. And, these guys just had great matches, and I'm looking forward for them to go at it again, to be honest. I'm hoping they go at it at WrestleMania. But, moving on. Chris Benoit versus Kurt Angle. Chris Benoit versus Kurt Angle, these guys had great matches, too. These guys had classic feud, classic matches. Submission matches. These guys had a Iron Man submission match, excuse me. And you got that. I love that match. That match was classic. And these guys were tag team champions. The whole program they had was great. They basically trying to say, I'm better than you. You're not better than me. I'm the captain of this team, and so you should follow my lead. And some of these segments were pretty funny too. It's some of the best segments that Chris Benoit had. They pretty much throw everything Chris Benoit out the window. But, regardless of if they're going to do that, they can't deny that the matches that Chris Benoit had with Kurt Angle was great, and some of his other matches. But, moving on to my next spot, Chris Jericho versus The Rock. Chris Jericho and The Rock, this is probably The Rock's second best feud, in my opinion, with Chris Jericho. Chris Jericho and The Rock, he is two guys who got the total package, who could do it all, who could say it all, who could wrestle it all. These guys just, they just talented. They got all this talent. When Rock first came to Raw, his first segment was with The Rock. Did I say The Rock first came to Raw? When Chris Jericho first came to Raw, his first segment was with The Rock. And, it was just golden from then on. And these guys had a great feud. And, Chris Jericho, he beat The Rock more than The Rock beat him. I think about that. I was thinking that was a little shocking. But this was a great feud. The Rock's second best feud, in my opinion. Moving on to the Dudleys, the Dudleys, the Hardy Boys, and Edge and Christan. The best tag team feud in my opinion. This is the best tag team feud. These guys bust their ass in these table matches, in these ladder matches, in these TLC matches. They bust their ass. They probably wouldn't be the wrestler that they are today. They probably wouldn't be where they are today in their career if it wasn't for these matches. You know, especially like Edge, Edge and Jeff Hardy. Mainly Matt Hardy, because those guys are main eventers. And these guys, they bust their ass, and they top each match. Each match they top. The one they hit at WrestleMania was great. They just put on great matches, and it's legendary to me. My opinion, it brings prestige back in the tag team division and to the tag team titles. So that's it. Moving on to my next one. Triple H versus Austin. It's Triple H versus Austin. This is when Triple H was first. Well, not first. When he was really starting to get put on the map. When his character was at his most serious. When his character was really being a badass. He was wearing a leather jacket, and coming out with Sledgehammer. He was being known as the Game. He was being known as the Cerebral Assassin. He was being known as somebody you should take seriously. And Triple H, this is when he had his most passion to be the best. And this whole angle he had with Austin was great. And he basically paid Rikishi to run over Stone Cold Steve Austin. When Stone Cold Steve Austin found that out, Stone Cold Steve Austin went straight for Triple H. There was so much heat, there was so much hatred in this feud. One of the things that made it great, these guys had a 3 stages of hell match. You have 3 matches in one, and it was great. It was one of the first pay-per-view matches I've seen. It was one of the first matches at a pay-per-view that I was looking forward to, that I was wanting to pay for, that I really felt like I had to see, and it delivered in my opinion. But moving on to Kurt Angle versus Shawn Michaels. Kurt Angle versus Shawn Michaels. These guys had a really, really great match at WrestleMania. One of the best matches at WrestleMania. One of the best matches, wrestling matches, period. Because these guys got so much talent. Kurt Angle got so much ability. Spin Knight has said that Kurt Angle pretty much had a great feud with everybody, and he might be right about that. He is right about that. Kurt Angle had pretty much a great program with everybody he went up against. And, this one is no different. This is one of the best he had. Shawn Michaels, one of the best feuds he had. One of his best performances he ever had. I remember Kurt Angle had him in the ankle lock probably longer than he ever had anybody. It was over 5 minutes, I believe. I believe that ankle lock he had on was over 5 minutes. And that match they had was just great. It was golden. It was what everybody expected it to be. A classic. Moving on. Kurt Angle, another one, another Kurt Angle versus Brock Lesnar. Brock Lesnar, now the UFC heavyweight champion. This guy was basically was a big Kurt Angle. In my opinion, he could do everything, just about everything that Kurt Angle could do. And he was basically the big Kurt Angle. He could do everything Kurt Angle do. These guys had great chemistry. These guys had great matches. These guys had a great match at WrestleMania. At that WrestleMania, Kurt Angle was wrestling with a broken neck, and he needed surgery. And Brock Lesnar had basically almost broke his neck. I know he had got a concussion when he did that, it's called 540, I believe, or the moonsault, the shooting star press. And he did that shooting star press. He landed on his head, and he got a concussion. There was no way in hell he wasn't, because it looked like that hurt. It looked like he almost died. And, but these guys just have great matches. Great chemistry, just great everything. And that's it for that. Moving on. To me, right here, the greatest feud of all time, The Rock versus Kurt Angle. The Rock versus Stone Cold Steve Austin. The greatest feud of all time. I don't care what nobody says. The greatest feud of all time. Two of the biggest baby faces of all time. In their era. These guys were Rock and Roll, what can I say? They feuded when they was in the mid-card. They feuded when they was in the main event. And all of it was great. All of it. And I don't care what anybody says. All of it. The greatest feud of all time. And Rock and Austin. And that's it. That's it for me. That's my list. Once on Jones out, please comment and subscribe.